because Unrivaled, the women's basketball league, the new women's basketball league that we said would be dead on arrival without Caitlin Clark playing in it, was in fact dead on arrival.
Can you believe what just happened to the Unrivaled league? The numbers are in, and it's worse than anyone could have imagined. TNT's big bet on women's basketball has turned into a total disaster. And you won't believe how bad it really is. You might be thinking it can't be that bad, right? But let me tell you, it's even worse than you're imagining. We're talking ratings. So low, they make the WNBA look like the Super Bowl. And that's just the beginning of this train wreck. Let's break down exactly how Unrivaled became the biggest joke in sports overnight.
No amount, it's so hilarious seeing these platforms, these media entities, the stations, TNT Sports, True TV, they financially back this league. Now they got to try to spin it now that it's a disaster. What did you think was going to happen? We said the moment we heard this league was starting, we said that's one of the worst ideas in the history of all bad ideas.
You know how sometimes you get so hyped up for something, and then it just totally falls flat. Well, that's exactly what happened with Unrivaled. TNT was pumping this league up, like it was going to be the next big thing in women's basketball. They were throwing around big names, big money, and making promises that would make your head spin.
TNT drug its feet on getting these ratings out. I mean, again, the marketing spin they're trying to put on this is hilarious.
But here's where it gets really interesting. They forgot one tiny little detail. Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. Now you might be thinking, how much difference could one player make? Well, let me tell you. It's like trying to sell tickets to a concert and forgetting to invite the headliner. It's that big of a deal. So the numbers came in, and oh boy were they bad. We're talking 32,000 viewers across 2 channels. 2 channels, can you believe it?
TNT finally released the first television numbers for Unrivaled, the new women's professional 3-on-3 basketball league, and they aren't very good. Of course, TNT tried to spin the numbers as strong, but the facts state the obvious. No Caitlin Clark means no large audiences. According to TNT PR, oh hell. The 2 games on Friday night, the debut games of the new league, averaged around 312,000 viewers across TNT and True TV.
To put that in perspective, that's less than half of what some WNBA games get. And those aren't even playoff games. It's like they built this whole fancy league and forgot to invite the fans. But wait, it gets even worse. TNT was so confident in their new league that they were making these wild promises about viewership and engagement. They were acting like Unrivaled was going to revolutionize women's basketball overnight. Talk about setting yourself up for a fall, right? And when the ratings came in, looking like a deflated basketball, what do you think TNT did? They tried to spin it.
They showed the games on 2 channels, and they only combined for just over 300,000 viewers. That's hilarious. Then they tried to say, oh, most women watch women's basketball game on TNT Sports. You want to know what the previous one was? LSU versus Colorado.
Can you believe it? They're out here claiming that most women's basketball viewership happens on their network. It's like saying you're the tallest person in the room when you're the only one there. The numbers don't lie, folks, and they're telling a pretty embarrassing story for TNT. You've got to wonder what they were thinking. Did they really believe they could pull this off without the star power of someone like Caitlin Clark? It's like they forgot the golden rule of sports. Fans want to see the best of the best. And when you don't have the best, well, you get 312,000 viewers. And a whole lot of explaining to do.
The numbers will steadily decrease. These numbers were due to initial interest. I watched 1 minute, got bored, no motivation to watch again. That's also the thing. This was the debut night. It's gonna drop from here.
So you're thinking, at least they had Angel Reese, right? She's a star. She'll save the day. Well, hold on to your seats, because Angel Reese's debut was more like a horror movie than a superhero film. You know how everyone was hyping up Reese as this game-changing player who'd bring in the viewers. Yeah, about that?
No, nobody's tuning in to see Angel Reese. In fact, the viewership actually dropped between the first game and the second game from last Friday, the debut of Unrivaled.
Reese took the court for the second game of the night. And guess what happened to those already dismal ratings? They went down. Can you believe it? People were literally tuning out when Angel Reese was playing. Talk about a gut punch for the league and for Reese herself. Imagine being touted as the savior of a new league and then finding out viewers are switching channels. When you step on the court,
Angel Reese played in the second game, and they lost viewers from the first game. Now, once again, tell me how you're moving the needle, because people literally tuned out when your game came on. I think that's hilarious. I really do.
Ouch. But wait, it gets even worse. Reyes couldn't seem to make a layup to save her life. She was missing shot after shot after shot. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. And you just couldn't look away. You know how sometimes great players have off nights. Well, this was like an off night on steroid. And you know what happens on the internet when a star player has a bad game, right? It goes viral, and not in a good way. Social media was buzzing, but not with praise. Nope, it was a feeding frenzy of memes and mockery. People were roasting Reese left and right for those missed shots.
And I can tell you right now, Angel Reese went viral because I made a video on it, because she missed like 9,000 layups again, and her debut in Unrivaled was a disaster. So yeah, she got a lot of views because people dragged her. Plain and simple, they destroyed her.
It's like the internet collectively decided, hey, let's turn this debut into a fail compilation. Now think about what this means for the league. They were banking on Angel Reese to be their golden ticket, their answer to the Caitlin Clark-sized hole in their lineup. Instead, her performance turned what was supposed to be a showcase into a viral disaster. It's like they threw a party and the guest of honor showed up wearing a clown suit.
It's hilarious because it's my understanding now, she keeps telling us, Angel Reese keeps telling us, that it's not just Caitlin Clark, that she's part of this brigade of women's basketball players that are leading all these new viewers into the WNBA. And I think it's these ratings right here that prove the biggest point outside of the nonstop level of statistical data.
But here's where it gets really interesting. How did the league respond to all this chaos? Did they go into damage control mode? Did they try to spin Reese's performance as just first game jitters? Or did they double down and pretend everything was fine? So Unrivaled debut was a total disaster, and the ratings were in the toilet. What do you think TNT did next? If you guess, try to hide the numbers. Ding, 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 we have a winner. TNT took their sweet time releasing the ratings. It's like they were hoping everyone would just forget the league existed. But when they finally did, oh boy, the spin they put on. It would make a politician blush.
Reporters, well, we kind of knew the media might do this, and we knew TNT would have to do something to try to spin this in some kind of positive direction, and I just don't think there's a way to do it.
Now you might be thinking, come on, it can't be that bad. They must have had some good news to share, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because TNT's response was about as smooth as a pothole-filed road. Instead of facing the music, they decided to play a little game of hide-and-seek with the numbers. But here's where it gets really interesting when TNT finally broke their silence. They didn't exactly come clean. No. No, they pulled out the oldest trick in the book, changing the subject.
And then 31 million views of Unrivaled content across at Bleacher Report platforms. So in other words, on X and on TikTok, they got all these views. Well, here's a dirty little secret. Nobody watches the NBA either. They still get a massive amount of social media views. People tune in to watch a dunk.
Suddenly, it wasn't about TV ratings anymore. It was all about social media views and engagement. Can you believe it? They're talking about likes and shares. Like they're the same as actual TV viewers. Let's break this down. For a second, TNT starts throwing around these big social media numbers, acting like they've struck gold. But here's the thing, social media views don't put butts in seats or eyes on screen. Means when the game is actually happening, it's like saying your party was a hit because a lot of people looked at the invitation. Sure, they might have double-tapped your Instagram post. But did they actually show up? That's the real question.
The company isn't going to bash its own programming, but there's no chance that TNT executives are happy about these numbers, despite their social media posts touting, quote, strong viewership. Yeah, they're lying to people.
Now, you might be wondering, okay, but maybe there's something to this social media angle. Well, industry experts were quick to burst that bubble. They pointed out that all those likes and shares don't mean squat when it comes to actual TV ratings. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Except the oranges are made of plastic, and the apples are. Well, you get the idea. But wait, there's more. TNT's desperate attempts to spin. This disaster didn't stop there. They were throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. Social media metrics, engagement rates, you name it. It's like they were trying to convince us that their party was the hottest ticket in town, even though the dance floor was emptier than a gym on New Year's Day.
Let's just say unraveled already, and we just started. And the funniest part about these ratings that they put out, I mean, God, TNT Sports must be dizzy with the level of spin they're trying to give this thing. And Front Office Sports tried to spin it too. No, the ratings are bad, all right? The ratings are bad.
And let's not forget about the league's financial backers. You think they're buying this social media success story? Fat chance. These are the folks who are promised a revolution in women's basketball. Not a TikTok trend. They're probably looking at their investment the same way you'd look at a melting ice cream cone with a mix of disappointment and regret. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the superstar who wasn't in the room. Caitlin Clark, while Unrivaled was struggling to get viewers. Caitlin Clark's games are pulling in millions. Yes, you heard that, right? Millions. Can you believe the difference?
That last Indiana Fever playoff game had 2.64 million viewers or something like that. 2.64 million viewers. The fact that Unrivaled failed to come close to drawing 400,000 on its debut night, no less, is nothing short of a disaster.
Remember, Indiana Fever's final playoff game against the Connecticut Sun. It attracted a whopping 2.5 million viewers. That's not just a game that's a full-blown event. And who was at the center of it? You guessed it. Caitlin Clark. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but that's a playoff game. Of course, it's going to draw a crowd, but here's the kicker. We're talking about a player who can make people tune in to watch a preseason game. That's how much star power she has, and Unrivaled thought they could just start a league without her. It's like trying to launch a space program without rockets. The difference in viewership is so massive, it's almost funny almost. But for Unrivaled, it's probably more like a nightmare they can't wake up from. From
However, one look at the WNBA ratings with Caitlin Clark shows just how much Unrivaled struggled without her. Heck, the Clark effect led to WNBA games that didn't even feature Clark drawing an average of 400,000 viewers. The WNBA drew millions of viewers for its championship series without Caitlin Clark.
Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a phenomenon. She's the tide that lifts all boats when she steps on the court. It's not just a game, it's an experience. People aren't just watching basketball. They're witnessing history in the making. And that's something Unrivaled desperately needed, but couldn't deliver. Now you might be wondering, how did Caitlin Clark become the make-or-break factor for an entire league? Well, here's where it gets really mind-blowing. Clark isn't just a star. She's the sun that an entire basketball solar system revolves around. That's not just my opinion. That's how experts are describing her impact. She's not just changing games. She's changing the entire landscape of women's basketball.
This is going to be history. It's like what I told her. That's pretty epic that we get to watch her, because not a lot of games here in Dallas with somebody that big of a star.
And here's the part that's got everyone scratching their heads without Clark Unrivaled is missing that crucial star power. It's like they're trying to light up a stadium with a flashlight. The experts are saying it loud and clear. Unrivaled failure to attract viewers is a glaring sign that without Caitlin Clark, they're missing the key ingredient to draw in the crowds. Wow. Can you believe what we've just witnessed? Unrivaled epic fail isn't just about bad ratings. It's a wake-up call for the entire sports industry. This disaster shows us that in today's world, one superstar can make or break an entire league. It's like Unrivaled tried to throw a party without inviting the guest of honor. And now they're left with an empty room and a bunch of disappointed sponsors.
All right, TNT will not, they're financially backing this league. They're not going to fold this league immediately, I don't think. I think they're going to try to ride this league at least a second season, maybe even a third season, just to try to prove some kind of point. But they cannot hemorrhage money out the door like they're paying for these salaries in this league. They cannot hemorrhage that and expect to keep it going. This league is not going to be profitable.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Some experts think TNT might actually keep this sinking ship afloat for a while, just to prove a point. Can you imagine burning through all that cash just to save face? It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know, it's going to end badly, but you can't look away. So, what do you think is Unrivaled, doomed to become a cautionary tale in sports history? Or can they somehow pull off a miracle? Come back. Let me know in the comments. I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this wild ride.